TitleMatchNetwork.com.
We come from a large group of family. We're like the Barnards and the Hart Foundation. So it all started with Wild Samoan, actually the Chief Peter Maivia.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys remember who he was back in the days. And then it goes Afa Sika, the Wild Samoans. Mm-hmm. So, again, I grew up in San Francisco, California, and that's where my uncles grew up at. So, and again, we have a large group of family, and I'm sure everybody know these big names. The brothers, my brothers are the back that ass up Rakishi, Samoan Spike, Humanga. Those are my brothers. The oldest Rakishi and my youngest is Humanga. Then it comes all the way down to me, which is the second to the oldest. And I've been in the business for now, I say, if I remember what year it is, the pounding around that I get 207. So I've been around now in the wrestling world for about 21 years now.
Wow.
I started here right here in New York City.
Did you watch wrestling growing up?
I watched wrestling. I wasn't really interested in wrestling, but I only watched it because Afa Sika was in it. The Wild Samoans. But my favorite sport back in the days to watch was the roller derbies.
Oh, really?
You ever watch roller derby bombers?
Right.
Well, those were my dad and mom's favorite team.
And Cabello, right? She was a big roller derby legend out in California.
Yeah. I mean, it was very hot at the time back in the 75 and said, but again, wrestling wasn't popular, I don't think, in the West Coast because all promoters, they have different territories at the time, but that's where I grew up from the home of San Francisco 49ers, man. So again, I watched it because Afa Sika was on it, and then, growing up as a young kid and didn't have a whole lot, and where we came from, and a group of 5 of us, and my mom and dad is trying to raise 5 kids. At the time, me going to high school wasn't really working out as well for me. Now teenagers these days, if you ask me, they're pretty much spoiled now. And my age back in the days, it was pretty much all about the school and the football and growing up, trying to make it. But eventually I got caught up in the wrong crowd, mixed around with the wrong kids, I totally made a different turn. And that's where my mom and my dad decided to send me to go, where Afa Sika lived, where they were at the time in Florida, Pensacola, Florida.
Okay.
Is where I started to train. And that's where I met Emmett Smith out there. But, Pensacola is a small town. It's not really a big town where pretty much everybody knows everybody in the town. But when I ended up out there, and then I started to train, Afa Sika started to train me to become a wrestler because, again, I didn't do so well in high school. And, number one, I didn't have this good role model. My dad and mom were there, but they were busy working, trying to take care of 5 kids. So, me screwing up, being a knucklehead as I am. But who knows that whoever knew in their mind that I was going to become this professional wrestler, at the time. But it worked out good. I had a great run. I started back in 81 here for Vince McMahon Sr. When the father was alive. It was a totally different one now. Vince McMahon has turned the whole sport around in the big Hollywood, you can say, and it's growing. I mean, you got to he's a genius. McMahon's a genius what he's doing. And I thank him and his father and especially his family for giving me that opportunity. At the time that I was a young kid, growing up, didn't have nothing to look forward to, but wrestling got me out of the hole.
So when you were out in Pensacola with Afa Sika, did you travel with them and everything, go on the road with them and all that?
Yeah, I did. Pensacola had a little territory. I guess they were run by, again, this is a long time ago. I don't know if you guys remember the Bob Armstrongs.
Sure, Fullers down there.
Yeah, Fullers.
Jerry Stubbs.
Those guys, and
Jimmy Golden.
And I traveled with Afa Sika at the time when they were, I don't know the name of the wrestling organization at the time, but we used to do Mobile, Alabama, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, Louisiana. We traveled in there. Yes, I traveled with Afa Sika at the time, but that's basic where I was training, but I wasn't training. I was just watching them, but those they didn't have schools. They didn't have what Mr. McMahon had. They sent them to the camp, and like my uncle Apa's school, the training the Baltimore Training Center. See, they didn't have all that back in the day. I pretty much had to sit behind the curtain and watch them match from the first match all the way to the end of the show. And that's pretty much how I pretty much picked up picked up some moves and stuff like that. And as the time went on, we would go to the building early, and there'll be nobody there but a big old wrestling ring. They didn't even open the doors yet, and then the ring crew would set up the ring, and I would just look around and jump inside the ring and sort of, bounce. I wanted to know how it felt in there, and then my uncle seemed interested in me. Afa Sika seemed interested in me, and we started going to the buildings early, and they started to train me, and that's how I ended up, become. That was my training. My training camps, going early to the show. But I traveled with them. That's where I met Hogan.
Because he was down there, right?
Yeah, I met Hogan and Terry these times. Bruce the Barbecue Beefcake. Who else? I could say Piper. A lot of big names. Paul Orndorff, one of my other greatest wrestlers that I've liked. He taught me a lot. Gave me some good word of wisdom as growing up as a kid. Big Catterny Lad. There's a lot of big names that came from that federation. I think it was run by Bill Watts at the time. After Florida, they traveled to Louisiana.
Oh, you went with them there?
I went with them to Louisiana too. So I was 16. I was young, and I didn't finish high school. I didn't graduate it, so I had nothing to lose. I had nothing to lose and nothing to turn back to. I figured, well, this is it. It's like filling out an application. You sit there and you wait your turn, and that's pretty much, where I ended up at.